House, man.
Relax.
No.
To understand how this day ended,
We need the police right away.
with multiple 911 calls and arrests, we have to start at the beginning.
We absolutely are going to start at the beginning, all right? We're going to see how broken, nonsensical legislation can be leveraged in nonsensical ways, mind you, to burden and break honest, hard-working, law-abiding citizens, both their pockets and their spirits. And how illegal invaders are champing at the bit to take full advantage of such stupid-ass property laws to boot, all right? And ultimately, how innocent people suffer cruelly at the hands of these... Let's keep going.
Your name. We met Adele Andaloro outside the home her parents left her in Flushing, Queens. She's in the process of selling it.
No, he locked it.
But she's been locked out. She claims squatters moved in on February 6th and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, squatters have rights after 30 days.
By the time that someone does their investigation and they do their work and their job, we'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home.
Stolen indeed, because that's actually what's taking place here. See, squatters' rights, or adverse possession, that's what it's called, is when someone publicly moves into and improves an otherwise neglected property. They may acquire a title to that property after a certain amount of time has passed. Keep that in mind, all right? Adverse possession is based on the idea that the land should not sit idle, some archaic law. These protections are not valid if the possession of the property is done in secret. Adverse possession laws require, remember what I said earlier, they require that at least 10 years of possession and payment of taxes have been made throughout that time period, okay, of 10 years, in order for it to be eligible, in order for them to even be eligible for a legal title. And as we're going to see, none of that has happened here at all. At all.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house?
I'm not renting.
Why are you here?
She unlocked the front door, saw our cameras, and took off.
It's open. Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with the property deed in hand, went inside.
Notice how the reporter just mentioned that the owner and her daughter are entering this house with the property deed in hand, okay? The owner, with legal documentation, legal proof that she is in fact the owner of that house, is in her possession. Remember that.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found two men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmiths. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents. What documents? The documents that the owner of the house already has in hand? That's already three illegal residents that we've encountered just watching this video. Okay? The female, who apparently knew that she was doing something wrong and hightailed it the hell up out of there. And then the two male individuals. She's the homeowner. She's made it very clear that she hasn't leased her property to any of these individuals. And she has the legal documentation to prove that she is in fact the owner of the house. Okay?
You have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days.
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs
They got one out.
and escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And it's not fair. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
How you doing?
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court. But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed.
That's not going on.
The man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
So that we have this very clear. Apparently, one of the guys that was removed from the premises by the police department went and looked for a fourth individual. Both of them then returned and barged their way into this woman's house so that individual number 4 could claim he is the actual resident of the house. Unbelievable.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. No, he did not. Yes, he did. No, he did and not. So did you. You broke through the front door.
Officer.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a landlord-tenant issue. And by law, it has to be handled through the housing court, not with police.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He just admitted that the house isn't his. She owns the house, he does not. She is the legal owner of the house. And then he goes on to make his triumphant point. She should know the law and how it works. There's rules to this shit. We gotta go to court. Is what his smug ass sits there and says, right? Isn't that astonishingly amazing? Like you really couldn't make this shit up. And that's with her being able to prove that she's the actual homeowner. She is able to produce physical evidence that the house is hers. And still, she has to adhere to this nonsense and go through this bullcrap. And that is what it is, bullcrap.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Cool. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
That's 100% fact. That's 100% fact. She is literally being arrested for being in her own home, for being able to prove that it is in fact her home. And the supposed tenant refuses to show the reporter any evidence, anything that can prove that he is actually a legal resident of the house. He doesn't have it. He also lies to the reporter too and says that he showed the police evidence that he does belong and that he does reside in the house when he in fact did not. What he did show was some bills of supposed work that was done on the house. That's about it. This in and of itself is bonkers. Just this is crazy enough. But then, now we're going to move on to phase 2. I'm going to introduce you to this piece of shit.
Gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States.
I'm just going to translate a couple of the phrases that he is saying so that you know it. Okay? This is the translation. My people, I've decided to invade a house in the United States.
Ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. ¿Capichi, muchachos?
As I've learned, a law exists that states that if a house is uninhabited, we can expropriate it. Capiche, boys?
Aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será mi próximo negocio.
Here in the United States, the invasion of land is also applicable. I think that this will be my next business negotiation. So you get the gist of it, right? as he's using social media to give the other illegal invaders who are following his social media channel all the deets, all the details on how to leverage legal loopholes to commit property crime in the United States. On top of the murder, on top of the rape, on top of the stealing, on top of the robbing, and so on and so forth. So, when you see that this is taking place, are you actually surprised? We already have one tragedy that already occurred at the hands of 2 squatters. Because it doesn't take long. Not long at all. Watch this.
Sources say the suspects are squatters.
Police sources say a man and a woman stole the 52-year-old victim's car from right out on the street here in front of the apartment building. They traced the license plates to New Jersey, then Pennsylvania, but those 2 remain on the run. Vitals was murdered. Her body found stuffed in a duffel bag in the front closet of an apartment on the 19th floor of this building on 31st Street. Super Jean Pompey let concerned family members into the apartment on March 14th after they couldn't reach her.
The male landlord pointed to the closet. He said he believed that there's a body in that bag, and all the clothes were down. So you really couldn't see, the bag. You could see partially a little bit.
The medical examiner ruled Vitals' death a homicide, blunt force trauma of the head. Police sources say they've identified 2 people they believe beat her to death. These sources say they were not known to Vitals, but may have been squatting in the apartment before she started either moving herself or someone else in. The 2 suspects are seen on video stealing Vitals' car from the street out front and fleeing. The car, police sources say, was later involved in an accident in Pennsylvania. The 2 suspects are still on the run. Multiple boxes addressed to the apartment were sitting in the building lobby last week. After the crash, police sources say the suspects then went to used car dealerships trying to get a new vehicle, but they don't believe they were successful. Again, they remain at large. If you know anything, give police a call.
Already, a life has been claimed to this squatter nonsense. And this is only the beginning. Okay? This is only the beginning. And what further adds insult to injury is nonsense like what's going on here. We have 2 suspects, right? 2 alleged suspects from what the report is saying. Okay? They were squatting in the apartment, which means the super can identify them. Okay? They went to, after they went to get a used car, they went to a used car dealership after crashing the victim's stolen vehicle. Yet magically, we don't have a description. We don't have a description of the assailants. The perpetrators of a brutal crime, right? Their identities are purposefully being concealed by the mainstream media. Why is that? I don't understand that. Why? Are they a complexion other than white? The nerve of this reporter to really sit here and ask, if you have any information regarding these individuals, call whoever the hell. You have a description, put it out, give it out. Plaster their picture everywhere. These are criminals. What in the actual freak is going on around here? Seriously. We aren't going to give descriptions to suspects of murder? That's absurd. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you found it informative. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, share. It helps the channel grow. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You already know. Thank you, everybody. Pretty good, pretty neat. Later.